We got 5 minutes on the clock, and we're going to go through the process of how to start a podcast show. I got 5 minutes to do that. My name is Josh, and I'm the creator of Podcast Host Army. I've built 15 shows, sold one. I've done about 2,000 interviews across the years of doing this. I've consulted, I've bought shows, I've sold shows, right? So I've been in podcasting for a long time. This is the absolute easiest time and easiest way to start a podcast show. Here are a few things that I do when I look at, should I start another show? I run 4 of them currently. All right. Step 1 is if you're doing it for business, I like to ask these 3 questions. 1, does your podcast support your business model? I've coached a lot of people who started a podcast show and they had something, they had a business that was no way correlated. And what it does is it causes a distraction. All right. So make sure your podcast show is directly correlated to your business model. 2, from day 1 of launch, your podcast should monetize or have the ability to monetize with your guests or your partnerships or your sponsorships, right? So you should be able to do that with no audience to make money and to grow from day 1. The immediate launch, you should be able to support your business and support your podcast show. Number 3 is when an audience does start to accumulate, this is where your scale comes in. So your podcast should have the ability to grow and scale with your audience. So once you have those 3 things answered in your own mind and your heart, go to number 2. We need some equipment. You could look at a mic like this, about $250. This is the Shure MV7. Or you can use the ATR 2100X. It's a $70 mic plugged straight into your computer. So you need a computer and a microphone. The ATR 2100, I think, is at like $70, or you could get this one for $250. You sound great, and it plugs directly into your computer. Obviously, you could buy other stuff like cameras and lights and all that other stuff, but that's all you need to get started. Then you're going to choose your name and your brand. Head on over to Buzzsprout, my friends at Buzzsprout. They have a free course to kind of walk you through the process of how to choose a name, how to choose a brand, what kind of artwork to use, right? It is such a simple way to start your podcast show and get it distributed to all the major platforms, Apple, Google, Spotify, iHeartRadios. They have a plug and play process that walks you through the full thing. Super affordable, has incredible customer support, and all of the links that we're sharing about this softwares and such will be in the show notes below. All right. Then once you get that up and running, you're going to go through the process of submitting your show to the directories. You probably want to start out with your show with episode number 1, a quick intro. What can your audience and your guest expect from being on your show or listening into your show? So that is something you could record a 30-second or 1-minute interview with yourself or even with someone else. And that gets you launched, okay? So now you have a show that is being distributed for a really affordable price to every single podcast directory, all right? So super easy, super efficient to get started, super affordable. Then you go and you take a look at Podpage, my friends over at Podpage, and you can look at all of our podcast shows are on Podpage. It's super affordable to set up a podcast website. It has great templates that you could choose from. It's super easy to get started. You can do guest intake forms, which collects all the guest information. It saves you tons of time, right? You don't have to go chasing people for their bio, their headshot, all that. It's collected into a form, stored within the website. And then when you release the episode, you get to tag them in that episode. So it's super awesome. You can take a look at Podcast Host Army or any of our other shows. They're built on Podpage. We have the elite version, which is $35 a month. So the lower versions are much more affordable. So that is how to start a podcast show, all within 5 minutes. Now, it might take you longer because you actually do the work, but there's the process spelled out for you. If you have any questions, head on over to podcasthostarmy.com and fill out a quick form, and maybe it's something we can help you walk through the process. If you have a podcast show and you're looking to grow, monetize, or maybe share some of this information, we'd like to have you on the show where we interview other podcast hosts to share tactics on launching, growing, scaling, and monetizing your show. Guys, I hope you're having a great day, and we'll talk to you all on the next episode, all under 5 minutes.